My ugly mug on that. Let's see, turn it around. Here's my workspace. Check it out. We've got a little chunk of 18 karat. We got the rest of the 14 karat I need. There's my basic simple math. And we're going to see if we can get this to melt down. So I need 4.96 grams of the 14. And I think there's probably, I need a better jeweler scale. My scale only gives me to tenths. So I probably had closer to 1.6 grams on that 18 karat. And that's okay. This is my first. It's rudimentary, and we're gonna go ahead and see if we can't get this to melt. I've been having problems with this torch, and it's really not considered to be hot enough. But I have the crucible here, and we're gonna try this to start. And I have something else here too that we'll try if this doesn't melt it. It might. I've found that, and I've seen this watching other people, but the kaolin will. It's the surface of my furnace actually. I know the furnace will melt it. I don't want to burn that much gas. The kaolin wool is quite sufficient to do this. Or melted the silver really quick, and then it took forever in this crucible. So, and this is a gold only crucible. And let's see what happens here. Gas going. I really need to get better torch system here. But right off the bat, you can see the chain melts nicely. So that was a 14 karat chain. I've got a little bit of borax already prepped this crucible. Looks like a little square of 18 karat or 20 karat in there. I've only got acid testing, so I'm calling it 18 karat. It seems to be melting the best. Or you can see it really lighten up, right? So the more alloy, the harder it is to melt. I did a little research on this. But hopefully I can get this all the way into a liquid here. And so I've got a carbon rod that I'm using. It's a stir stick. Little bits of gold. Little scraps. This is actually everything in here. No, I have a bracelet that I got at an estate sale. And then the rest of it, this all was scraps in the bottom of my stepmother's jewelry box. So my stepsister made off with, my dad said, 5 pounds of gold and a small fortune in diamonds that she primarily had before they met. And my stepsister grew up seeing her mom wear. So I after all the cousins and family and everyone got to go through the jewelry, I was the very last. We go in and pick what I could find, and ended up with about a 1/4 ounce of gold. No, yeah, but that's 1/4 ounce of alloys. So we have an alloy here, and I'm basically mixing 18 and 14 karat, 5.1 grams before the melt. The math said I needed a 5 gram total to get this into a 1/10 ounce chunk of gold, of pure gold. And if I can get this into a little bead, I'll go ahead and pound it into a flat disc. Then this is a big if, because gold takes a little more heat than silver, and in this method, I was barely getting the silver to melt, and part of it has to do with this torch. Part of it has to do with, interesting, these crucibles really absorb a lot of heat, and you can see underneath it the bone tray. I don't know what to call it, but silver melts in like a minute on that thing, and it took longer than this has so far in the crucible I was using. And I've seen other videos. Again, I have the kaolin way, the kaolin wool cloth is pretty good insulator too. So right now I'm going to sprinkle a little borax into the mix. I gotta be careful with it. This torch kind of sucks. Yeah, it keeps going out right at the crucial moments. So we'll see if I can even get this to liquefy. I'll probably just leave it as a bead in the crucible to pull out instead of trying to pour it. I do have a mold right next to, which you can see it's just not. I don't think I'm going to get there, honestly, in this crucible. But it's darn close. That chain totally just broke up. I'm like right on the edge of going to liquid. You can hear my torch isn't happy with the angle, position. So I think a mape grass. What I really need to get is a oxyacetylene torch, and I can use that for cutting. I can use it for jewelry. I can use it for welding, art. Would be fun. So close. So close. Oh. So I don't see, oh, there's a little bit of green coming off. I'm probably burning copper out of this actually. And I'll be below 5 grams when we're done. I'm dropping a little more borax in there, just teeny amounts of borax, and that helps prevent the oxidation of the copper. I'd like it to stay at 5 grams if I can. That's something I totally noticed though when I was melting silver, was the weight after was less, and I can only figure I was oxidizing copper. And you can see that slight greenness in there. Again, I've got the wrong torch for this, so this just might not be happening in this situation. Again, I think the crucible ends up absorbing a bunch of heat compared to other ways of melting or surfaces to melt on. But I'm going to end up giving this a few more minutes here. We're really only going I can't read that. 9 minutes it looks like. All right. Interesting. On my Facebook, I just got a notification that my cousin, who's a goldsmith for, he just retired last year from the, but he did that since the early 70s for his whole life. He just mentioned something on Facebook to me. Oh, probably. Well, we spent the week together at my stepmom's funeral. Posted pictures, but he's going to come out and bring. He has the last of his gold filings, This is almost turning into a lump there. He said he may bring the rest of his gold filings with him, and we'll do some experimenting with my furnace. I'll have to build a cone mold, see if we can't refine it. But there's like platinum, gold, and silver all mixed together, right? So we'll make a doré. If it was just silver and gold, it would be electrum. I think it'd be fun to make some electrum coins, or even a doré with platinum. And if you could RXF it, you'd know exactly what. But this is so close, but so far. Let's see what I can. Hopefully the torch doesn't go out. But really getting some glow. Oh, getting some glow. So close, so far. All at the same time. I see a teeniest bit of melt going on in there. Come on, baby. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Liquefy, liquefy. We're just like on the edge. On the edge. So regardless if I burn off any copper, there's going to be a little more borax. There's going to be the same amount of gold and silver from the alloy. And so I did. At first, I thought the 1.5 grams was 22 karat, and it could be 20 karat, but I only have acids for testing, so you can only get so close on your determination with that stuff. So if you didn't know, I've started another channel, but I can't run it live off my phone, and there's no way to video this and connect it onto my other computer. But Functional Fractions Coin, and I've only got a couple of shorts on there yet, but I'm going to start doing more and more and try and figure out a way to get more shorts and some good. I suck at putting together videos, but I'll try and capture some and put it on there and teach more about monies and metals. And one of the things I'm realizing is the world needs some freaking changes in concepts and understanding economic theory, and the whole world is bitching about 25% inflation, and I did the math for folks on a $2 loaf of bread would be close to $7,000 if inflation was 25%. Instead of, it's actually like 5. We had like 8% over the year, and we had a month where shit happened because of multiple factors coming together between supply chain issues after COVID, Putin invasion sending oil prices up, and the fucking bird flu killing the egg production. All that combined for a massive jump in prices. In a short period of time, where we had a month with 27%. But the simple math for inflation, okay, so if we took a $2 loaf of bread and you have 25% inflation, that's a 1 month increase on the price. And so the next month it would be $2.50. And the next month it's, 1.25 times that, and it just compounds up. And so after a year, you end up with basically a $7,000 loaf of bread. I don't know if this is actually ever going to fucking go to melt. Notice I didn't say this is made for kids movie. So the one thing I'm worrying about is if I'm actually going to be able to remove it. It's so close. There's like this. My surface is almost liquid. Yeah, the real scary thing people need to be worried about right now is the MAGA contingency playing chicken with the economy, and they're willing to let America crash and die so they can gain political power by saying, look what Biden did, when it's literally them. More than 25% of all debt was occurred in the last administration, and they unquestionably, like it says in our Constitution, the debt shall not be questioned. We're going to pay our bills. But this is standard Trumpism where we just like rack up expenditures and don't pay. And it's stupid because the people who are going to suffer the most are like our veterans. They're going to not be able to get money. They're going to be our senior citizens, aren't going to get Social Security payments here. There is literally like 3 weeks of money left for our government to pay its bills. Some of the craziest shit you can imagine. And you wonder why, and it's crazy, people call me a leftist and shit, but I did not take a single payment from any of the payouts for you know, like I get called a leftist by all these people who are GOP registered voters, and they all took government subsidized payment checks, right? So here's the thing: people are like, "Oh, we've paid 70% of all cash was printed in the last couple of years." It's like, you don't seem to understand that printing valueless money does not change the value of the valuelessness. And people are, inflation's come from printing. It does not come from printing money when money is made from gold. You got to have gold and silver standards, okay? And then I get people trying to explain, folks. It's like, okay, we had a bigger recession or depression in 2008. And the reason it happened is because unregulated speculation. And that is truly, if you look at history, the actual reason we have massive deflation occurs. So where was valued when the Dutch were ruling the world financially? It was speculative on tulip bulbs, right? And all the tulip bulb became the fiat currency, and they were worth more than a fucking house. They had no true value until it all collapsed, okay? And it was all confidence based on speculation. So right now we're about to lose a global confidence in the dollar because the GOP is speculating that they can get, and it's nuts because they're like saying, no, we're not going to budge unless we cut 25% of the budget. That's our stance. And so that literally means like you're cutting veterans, you're cutting, let's cut 25% of the military budget, fine. That's where 90% of our debt comes from. Here I am trying to, with the wrong torch, right? You got to have the right tools to do shit. I'm so close. It keeps getting close. I'm going to give this another couple of minutes like this, and then we'll let it, see if I can't dump it onto this kaolin wool. I don't know if it'll come out of here. I want it to stay as a chunk and not separate. Oh, see, there goes this is one problem with this torch blows out. Always right at the crucial moments, too. This is the craziest thing. So there's some liquid. So I am getting the liquids. There is a little liquid in there. I bet that's the piece that was the higher carat, though. There it goes. It's flowing. You see that? Oh, yeah. I'm right on the verge of getting this into a bead. Right on the verge. All right, so let's talk about how do you cause inflation when you have a fiat currency? Because so inflation theory, and everyone talks about printing money causing inflation, but in fact, when we went off the gold standard, that ceased to be a thing because those entire concepts are derived from the debasement of coin. Okay, so putting more bronze into your gold coin. Right, and if we were printing more money than the amount of gold we had, right, and we keep producing gold, so there's tons of gold now. We have 29 states now have gold and silver monies metal laws have passed, right? And Texas is going to be producing a digital currency backed, like you can only produce so much digital Texas bucks as you have physical Texas gold in the Texas gold vault. Okay. Oh, this is so close to going full melted. Now, things like interest rates and financial growth equations were derived in like the 1600s based on forest tree ring growth equations that were figured out like in the 1300s by foresters. And they cut down trees and they could see the tree growth, and they started deriving math to figure out what the value of land is over time. And like the kings wanted to tax the trees and all that shit, right? And so if we look at Alex Hardy economic theory concepts, I don't know how else to fucking call this, but we can also call it forest economy. We can see that a small tree has teeny little tree ring growths, and each year it can only add so much. And it's the same thing when you're starting in a savings or financial, and you want to compound it. You have this small base, and it slowly grows. And it's the same as that what I was showing with the inflation of 25% on a $2 bread. It slowly grows, but after a couple of months, all of a sudden, it's like you have these huge compounds. 25% of $100 is 25, and then you're all of a sudden you've got several hundred, and it grows pretty quick. Okay, so in the Great Depression, we're still in some pretty small tree ring growths as a global financial institution of the United States of America, right? And unfortunately, the country was hijacked by a private financial group at that point. We now have the Fed, and we no longer have the gold standard. But the economy continues to grow. It continues to grow and grow and grow. And it was so freaking big in 2008. Oh, what caused the 2008 was collapse was not the printing of money. It was unregulated speculation and the equivalent of tulips in the housing market, basically. Okay, right? So we can look at that throughout time and history, and those are two big ones that everyone's aware of. But throughout time and history, speculation is truly what leads to collapses of world economies. Changing in currencies is a global standard. So we had the housing debacle, and it was speculation on housing that caused that, unregulated. If I let this just go now, it'll almost be a freaking nugget. There's like little teeny pools of molten gold in this crucible right now. All right, so as a tree grows, think about it, small trees in a forest fire. They're going to get, or a heavy storm, they're going to get destroyed, right? Larger tree, fire comes around and burns its roots, burns around the base, but it can't really penetrate through the bark because it's got so much protection in its massive scale. And the tree rings are on the larger tree are bigger, even in dry years, because the canopy, the production, the amount of work that's available to transmute energy into the living system of the tree, which is the economy here in America. And we have so many more viable inputs to that economy, so many other forms of people producing value, right? It takes a pretty damn big fire to fucking destroy the tree. And 2008, we had a larger recession than the Great Depression. By the numbers, there was more money lost, disappeared, stopped to exist, or whatever you want to call it, in the collapse of the fiat housing speculative value that caused so much other shit to fall at the same time, right? But People had jobs in real forms and stuff. People reformed what they did, and what happened was we just kept chugging right along. There was no real bread lines then, was there? Okay, so the tree's pretty solid at this point, and the only thing that can fuck it up is like a deliberate wildfire that was lit in the worst time possible, which is exactly what the fucking magatards are doing right now. Literally, this thing is like so close to being a fully liquid pool of gold. You can see it jiggle. I got a little bit stuck to my rod. That's interesting. I don't know what. What I got stuck to my rod. That's not good. That means that this is a failed experiment at this point. If I've got shit stuck to my rod, Oh, come on. Good. Yeah. Negligible quantity of something. Oh shit, that happened again. See, that's straight up right on the verge of being I don't know, maybe at this point I should change to the Kalen wool. But there's still these little chunks of it that I really wish it was all one mass. You can see little bits off the side. Whatever. This is kind of fun though. A little more borax in the One problem with borax is you end up getting too much in there and the whole mass just sticks to the glob of glass. Okay, I'm really that's getting so close to coming. Of course, the torch will die again right as I need it. I can't read what's going on in comments, but what y'all doing for Memorial Day? I'm melting a glob of gold I got from my stepmom. Oh, it's so close. See that bead? Look at that bead just went liquid right there. So close. Rotisserie. Try the old flipping the meat over trick, alright? Oh, I'm so close. That little blob is liquid. Like I said at the beginning, or I wrote in the notes, I got the wrong torch for this, and I think these crucibles just absorb so much heat. But this is learning. I'm never going to do it like this again. And if it actually flows here, it's not impossible. This ends up, you can see that one little bead right there. It's so close. There's some other beads on the far side. I don't think you can see through the glare. You might not even see the one I'm looking at through the glare. So you haven't seen, so I also have a new Instagram account called Functional Fractions Coin. And Bullion, I think, on that one. No. I think the Bullion is the YouTube channel. Functional Fractions. Oh, it's so fucking close. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. It's like the reverse of lava cooling. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on. So close. Oh, I think this is the ticket with the rotisserie. I'm getting to see more liquid movement. So the torch doesn't go out again like it does. I really just want to get this all to flow together into one. There it goes. Okay, we're getting it. All right. So yeah, call your Republican senators and congressmen and tell them to do their constitutional duty and pay America's bills, whether you believe in the spending or not. Frankly, the military spending is where the majority of it comes from. And I personally abhor that reality, the imperial state of America. But the Republicans tend to be the ones that create that. So this is crazy. So I have a molten pool in the center, and I have a crust of non-molten metal, and I have. You can see. Well, I guess you can't. It's too bright. So there's oxidation occurring. I'm going to try a little more borax into the mix here. But what's nuts is I'm wondering. I mean, the center of this thing is just is the boiling pool of metal, and the outer parts are not. This is really interesting. The whole crucible has a glow to it. So one of the things I'm wondering is if I'm literally almost smelting this. But as I do that, I'm getting actually. All right, so this is cool. Not going to be a failed experiment. So I do have slag coming off, I think. This is liquid. I have a liquid bead, and so I bet I'm going to be less than the 5 grams. There's, like I said, there's a chunk of slag stuck to the stick, and I've got a fully liquid bead. So I don't know if I've removed gold or alloy or what, but I definitely have a bead in here, and all right. But I totally oxidized a bunch of metal. So again, I don't know if I have a slag on the rod or if I took precious metal up. I'm trying to get it to melt back off. My rod is totally glowing. I would rather have the alloy than pure metal, so I have a better idea of my weight. And I'm just really trying to get the metal off the rod, and then this is going to be done. I'm going to let it cool. And I think I have the rod cleared. All right. So I do have a liquid bead. I've tried pouring out of these crucibles into graphite, and it just didn't freaking work so well. So I'm not going to even bother. I'm going to try and pull this bead out as it cools before it sticks into the borax, which I'm going to do just the teeniest little sprinkle. There is oxidation on this thing. I know you can't see this; it's too bright, and but I have this beautiful little ball of liquid metal. The surface is dancing. I just again a little borax to pull the. Okay, and we're done. We're shutting that off, pulling it out, and cool. Let's see here. Before that gets to liquid still, and looks like I may have fuckered that up. Let's see. There we go. All right. There we go. So I don't have any water out right now to dunk it in, but it's pretty cool. It's glowing. I'm gonna turn the light off so you can see it really glow. It's hot. Hot. Barbecues. It's the real deal. All right. So I did it. I accomplished. That's a pretty difficult task, and I'm sure it would have gone a lot easier in on these other surfaces. Like I continue to say, these crucibles like have a heck of a time to really they absorb so much heat. Where do I have water? I don't have any water in here. I got some real close. I'll be right back. Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air. All right. So let's see. Oh, you can hear it. The crucible now has glass in it from the borax going to a liquid form, right? You hear it tinging? I'll turn off. This is neat. Turn the music off so you can hear that. The gold's got a gold color to it now. But that pinging you're hearing is literally the borax turned to glass and shrinking. So I'm going to pour a little water out here onto this. I've got some cupped surfaces. You know. So I've melted on this, but the silver goes right down those holes. It went so fast. You can see, this is pretty neat. What did it do? Made a little pattern on there. All right. So I dunked it in some water. And it's all cooled off. All right, not quite round, but I'm pretty psyched considering how much energy it requires to melt the alloys. Even pure gold is pretty tough to melt, I think, because it's so dense. So let's see. I should have brought the camera, or the scale. Let's go see if it changed mass. So I had 5.1 grams, and I really think I burned off copper. I menged. I don't see any metal left on the rod or the what is it? Crucible. So a little bit of moisture on there. Get that off. So I started with, someone's asking what purity in comments. I started with, I'll show the paper again. Yeah, so we're 4.8 now on the mass, almost 4.9, which means I burned off some copper, right? I'm certain there's still the same amount of gold in there and silver that there was. I'm still going to call this a 3.11 grams of gold. I think there's more than that actually, but let's go ahead and figure out what our purity is right now. Okay, so how do we do that? Scratch test. Boom, I started out with 14 karat and 18 karat mixed, and it might have been more than 18 karat, okay? There's a little bit of slag on here too, so I've lost even more mass in copper, is what I believe. You could see the flame had slight green to it, took forever to burn off. And I'm having a hard time getting a good scratch. So I think there's a little glaze. I need pickle. I don't have pickle, unfortunately. And I might need to hammer this chunk a little bit before I can get a good scratch out. But the higher grade and yeah, I think that's gonna be a factor here. Let's see if that's even testable. So what we have here is 18 karat acid, 10 karat acid, and we'll touch 10 karat on there. You see the line won't change. I doubt the 18 is going to hold, right? It's going to be between these two there. So there's that. And I'm going to grab a little. I don't think it's 18 karat, but that line could be borax. All right, so I smashed this a little bit. I don't know if I got it. I saw a bunch of, but there's still borax on it. Try to see if it can get a better scratch. Still seems like it's. Anyhow, so what I want to do next actually is pound on it, and that'll take off all the borax that's on it. So let's take it out to the garage again and do that, and then we'll come back for another weight and acid test. So, and then I'll really only be able to tell with an XRF. I know for certain, again, I had the math all set up with doing at least 18 karat, which I think actually might have been more like 20, 22 karat. Let's see, what am I doing here? I got to get a couple items here. So I've got some soft steel I use as a anvil, and I've got a piece of eucalyptus. So we're actually going to be, oh, this is, wanting to fall over. There we go. And let's see. You can see this is all borax that came off when I first smacked on it. So after burning off all that copper, maybe the whole thing is, there's a whole bunch of borax coming off here. It's not impossible that this is actually around closer to 18 all around. So I'm cupping it in case it shoots off. I've had little chunks of silver shoot off across the room and have to clean the whole garage to find it again. Like that. Really wasn't too far higher. So pretty cool. I'm gonna have a Maker's Mark stamp made for all my jewelry. So again, at the end of this, there's no way I burned off or lost gold or silver out of this. So I definitely could have burned off zinc and copper and oxidized them into the borax. So I'm super confident, and I have at least a 1/10 ounce of pure gold in this little thing. Ingot, nugget, coin. Won't be a coin until well, even then it's a token or a bullion. Bullion's more pure though, so functional fraction. Whatever. It's my first little piece of gold in a 1/10 ounce fraction of pure gold. So let's see. There we go. So somewhere I've got really small stamps, and I'll use those to write Troy and Graham. But I don't have teeny little numbers. I have small numbers. I think my numbers are a couple of millimeters, and then The small letters I have are 3/4 of a millimeter. So, but after I've done a few more of these, it'll be there won't be any remaining borax, and we can go give it a better scratch test and see if I've burned off a whole bunch of copper and this is all more pure. Heck, I might have burned off enough copper. I doubt it, but we'll see what it weighs after the borax is knocked off. So I don't have pickle. We'll wash it. Should make some pickle. It's pretty simple stuff. Does that look like ouch? It's because it is. Right, barely to the same as my bones density there, or diameter. Barely. Now I'm holding it. Pretty cool. So as a kid, I used to take like nickels and pennies out to the concrete sidewalk pavement. We just had curbs, not sidewalks, and pound them out to look like ancient coins. This is something that's been in my soul for a long time. All right. All that residue. So. So the gold value in this is $195, and then people, if it is a standardized coin or whatever, people pay a premium on it. $250. I don't think I'd sell this for less than right now, especially once I get my maker's mark on it and it's known to be my very first ever gold coin, because I'm gonna mint 100,000 gold coins before I'm dead. How's that sound? I really, my intention is to produce 20,000 silver fractional 10th ounce coins this year, and if I can get those made and sold, I'll be able to make a few 10th ounce gold coins as well. But it's basically 100 ounces of silver is equal to 1 ounce of gold. So it's a lot easier for me to produce the silver than the gold, right? Yeah, let's go. I think that's enough hammering on it. Let's go. I'll get that other stuff. You guys can look at this while I do that. So interestingly, this scratch test is showing we're still good at 18. So I'm really thinking I just cooked off a lot of that copper that was in here. Let's see, can we see that? Not really enough light in here, is there? There you go. 10 and 18. But again, I'm not 100% certain that's not the what you call it, the borax instead of gold there. But glass, I don't know how the glass would scratch on that. All right, so let's see. Let's look again here at what our original math was and weights. So I started with a piece that may well have been 20 or 22 karat, but I'm calling it 18 because all I have is this acid testing to determine. and I had 1.5 grams of that. There's actually a little more because when I weighed out exactly 3.5 grams there, it came out to 5.1 was my mass when I began. All right. I needed 4.96 to hit the 3.11 grams for the 10th ounce Troy pure gold, right? Gold and silver do not burn off or oxidize, but copper and zinc, if they're in there, can. Zinc is used to make a brighter, whiter color and stuff. I don't know if there's some other stuff they use too. So you know, it's zinc, but again, so there's my chunk. After we've pounded off our borax, hopefully, and we're going to be at. So I lost 0.3 of a gram weight in the mass. And again, I don't believe any of that would have been from the gold. It would have been from copper. There wouldn't have been anything else in there to lose I can think of. I didn't have even any. Well, no, there was a little solder in there, but it tested out at 14 karat or better too, or 18. So let's go ahead and set up the scratch test and see what happens here. Let's see if I can get this to stand without falling over. I'm having a hard time keeping this weighted. Yeah, let's see. All right. So we got the one from before pounding it. Oh yeah, there's a good rub off, and let's see. Here's our acids. Start with well, we know it's better than 10. We're gonna go with the 18 and see what happens. Yeah, I don't think I do it even. So the 18 goes ahead and eats that up. So we didn't melt off enough of the copper to get it to 18. We're definitely still going to be fine at the 10 though. Get that bubble out of there. And we can blend the two and see what happens. So yeah, it's probably closer to the 14 overall. And but again, I'm going to mark that with a 10th gram and go ahead and call it a close now, because that's. Now let's see if I can pull that off. Let's see. I'm gonna go find the small letters. They'll be. I'm gonna think where the freak I put those though. Yeah, I'll do that all later. Appreciate you guys following along. Smash that like button if you ain't already following me. Follow me here. Follow me over on my new fractional functions coin Instagram and YouTube. Here's some of that stuff. Peace out. Have a great day. Go out in the world, make it a better place with the meat suit you was given to do it in. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. Oh, I can't even.